Today we're diving into all the latest updates and news we have for the Lords of the Fallen game. Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to be diving into an article from Jinx.tv called The Lords of the Fallen Release Date Window, News, Leaks, Platform, Story. It starts off by saying CI Games' Lords of the Fallen was released in 2014 to mixed reception. Dubbed as a Soulsborne-like experience, while it wasn't all that great, some fans wonder if there's a Lords of the Fallen 2, aka the sequel. There is, in the form of The Lords of the Fallen. Again, yeah, like they said, the first one was released to mixed reviews. I did have my hands on it. I didn't play it when it originally came out. I did play it, sometime, a few months ago when the new one was released, because I didn't really interest me back when it came out. And yeah, I can see where the mixed reviews came from, because it was a very clunky experience compared to some of the other Souls-like titles we play. So that's one of the biggest things I'm hoping they patch up. While a name such as Lords of the Fallen 2 might have been a bit more clear, The Lords of the Fallen is a sequel to CI Games' 2014 ARPG. Some believe the sequel was cancelled since it was announced 7 years ago, until a trailer at Gamescom 2022 announced the sequel as The Lords of the Fallen. It is being developed by Hexworks and will be published by CI Games. The developer, Hexworks, noted the first game that we are proudly developing is Lords of the Fallen 2. This sequel will shift from the original's power fantasy to a dark fantasy world, and it will also have more challenging combat than its predecessor, staying truer to the experience that the Soulsborne communities enjoy. However, with that comment, I hope they don't make it too hard. I think the issue with a lot of these titles is they're not as accessible. I think Elden Ring was probably the most accessible Souls game we've gotten in a while, and I feel like a lot of the time since the Elden Ring release, we've just been getting Souls clones after Souls clones between Lies of P, Mortal Shell, things like that. It's just, they keep coming out, and I feel like if they don't make certain accessible ones, it's still going to only stick to that niche group. At the time of the writing, there is no exact release date for The Lords of the Fallen. The game's release date window is 2023, with no information. I have to say the game's probably going to, if it is in 2023, it's going to get released in Q4. With the given track record of the industry, though, I would not be surprised if we end up seeing some sort of delay on this. The developers have confirmed that the platforms for The Lords of the Fallen, namely PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X and S, they've noted that amazing visuals and gameplay supported by the power and performance of the Unreal Engine as we target next-generation console platforms and high-end PCs. Now, given they're targeting those new consoles and high-end PCs, and they're saying amazing visuals and gameplay supported by that, it really leads me to some doubt, because everything that's been released recently, and just to name a few games, Redfall getting announced, and then the new PGA game, they're all supposed to be like new gen games, and they're still being released at 30 frames per second. And I can tell you right now, given this being a Soulsborne game, it is not going to do well if it's released at a minimum of 60 FPS. It's just, that has to be the new industry standard. If not, I don't agree with paying full price. I think if your game can't meet that 60 FPS, then you need to be charging $30 for it. Now, a little bit into the story, it says, moving on from a power fantasy to a dark fantasy world, the Lords of the Fallen story sees players take on a role of a dark crusader embarking on a quest to overthrow a powerful demon god named Adir. A short story description explains, after an age of the cruelest tyranny, the demon god Adir was finally defeated, but gods do not fall forever. Now, eons later, Adir's resurrection draws nigh. As one of the fabled Dark Crusaders, journey through both realms of the living and the dead in this expansive RPG experience featuring colossal boss battles, fast, challenging combat, thrilling character encounters, and deep, immersive storytelling. You will be the legend of a light, or one of the darkness. The Lords of the Fallen will feature tough-as-nails gameplay in a vast, interconnected world. It will have more challenging combat than the 2014 title of nearly the same name to appease the Soulsborne community. These articles like this, when they write them like this, and the details, how they try to explain it, is just red flag to me after red flag. When they say fast, challenging combat, yet they're 95% of the games that have come out can't even reach 60 FPS. Like, that's not appealing to anyone. And then just when they say tough as nails gameplay, it's like, that's only gonna reach, the hardcore Souls fans. Most people, this looked visually very cool, and it's probably gonna get some people to buy it, and they're gonna drop it in 10 minutes when they can't get through the first boss. And lastly, it says the developers have listed some features for the Lords of the Fallen, which you can read about below. And it says it's bullet pointed, so I'll just read them for you in order. It says embark on 2 vast parallel worlds, that of the living and that of the dead. Master fast, fluid, and challenging combat systems. Please 60 FPS. Wield devastating magic items and character buffs. Invite a second player to join your campaign in uninterrupted multiplayer. Encounter a wide array of characters eager to offer a dubious hand. Fully customize your own unique characters, and then choose from 9 starting character classes, including a knight, rogue, and a fire apprentice. The Lords of the Fallen gameplay teases challenging, fluid, tactical combat. Players will be able to choose from hundreds of unique brutal weapons, as well as magic to defeat their foes. The game will also feature a multiplayer aspect where one can join in another like co-op. Just like Soulsborne titles, there will also be an invasion mechanic, allowing other players to jump in your world for some PvP. So that kind of confuses me right there, because it says invite a second player to join your campaign in uninterrupted online multiplayer, but I know in, like a Dark Souls game that if you have a companion join you, you can also be invaded. So that doesn't sound like uninterrupted multiplayer, so we'll just have to kind of wait and see for more details on that. But that's going to do it for like the article. I just want to share some thoughts. Like I said, one, this game has got to have the 60 FPS if they keep talking about fast, fluid combat. The first game, it was a 2014 release. It was 30 frames per second, and that combat was clunky alone, even if it would have had 60 FPS. So given this saying it's going to be a fast, fluid combat, it needs to have minimum 60 FPS. Again, another, like I said, the red flag with the uninterrupted online multiplayer. That sounds great, if you were just like exploring, say like a game like Elden Ring with a friend, and you guys can level up together and do all that stuff without having to worry about some like hardcore Souls player just jumping in your lobby and destroying you. So I'd like to see more information on whether it's actually uninterrupted, or if you're online, people can hop in and invade, or is that like a separate, thing you have to be able to allow. It does sound like there's going to be more, like this part where it says the character is eager to offer a more dubious hand. It sounds like the mechanic in Elden Ring where you can use summons to help you with the bosses. Because I know, most of the Dark Souls games, as far as I remember, there wasn't much summons to help you. It was either, you summoned in a friend, or you kind of had to just take it on alone, while Elden Ring had that option to use summons within the game. So I wonder if that's going to help you, especially if they keep saying this super challenging combat. Other than that, standard, RPG elements, character customization, knights, rogues, all that stuff. So it does sound, again, like really awesome. I think the pros are very much outweighing the cons here. However, there is some red flags I did see in this article, and some things that just have concern. One being delays with the name of the game here in the gaming industry, and just, all these delays that we keep seeing. The 60 FPS minimum frame rate for this game, and then, again, the invasion thing's not too big of a deal, but it does say uninterrupted, and then if you have an invasion, that is interrupted. So again, that's a minor one, but I think the big things here are we going to see a delay, and is it going to be 60 FPS minimum? Let me know all your thoughts down below. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to smash the thumbs up button. Consider subscribing if you want to stay up to date on all the latest gaming news we cover, as well as just turn on that notification bell so you guys never miss an upload. As always, my name is Ross, and I will see you guys in the next video.